Hi, welcome to Test Roll. I'm Martin.
I'm Lars.
And we're here today, well, first of all, to enjoy a nice cup of joe with our nifty Test Roll mugs. Sam got us fixed up with these mugs, and she came up with a truth. Yes. Blather about cameras.
That's pretty much all we do.
Here's to you.
That's a tasty cup of joe.
There we are. Well, all Java aside, tell us about what we're going to be doing today.
Okay, well, my father got this microscope, and he suddenly decided, I want to take photographs of whatever it is in the microscope. Well, apparently Minolta made just the camera that worked beautifully with the microscope because it had mirror lockup and all sorts of useful features. So he got a Minolta. I think he'd had a Minolta in the past anyway, so he liked the brand. He ended up getting a lot of Minoltas. So we're going to talk about the Minolta SRT line, specifically the 101 and the 201. And these actually were my father's main cameras that he just shot a lot of stuff with. And I inherited all his cameras, and then you inherited one of them.
There's the 101.
This is my 101 with this is a MD Rocar X 50 millimeter. The X apparently stands for export.
This is the SRT 201. They gave me the nice one here. And, you know, they look very similar.
Yeah, that one looks, it's got a couple of other extra features on it, which are kind of nice, but...
well, mine says CLC on it. Why don't you tell us what that is? Oh, they're both...
CLC was, it stands for, I believe, Contrast Light Compensator.
Okay. Or
something like that. And that's referring to, it has two cells that read the light in the pentaprism. If you're in landscape mode, it will compensate for the sky. So if you've got like a bright sky, it's going to actually pull your exposure down a little bit.
This one has the 28 millimeter MC Rocar X. Really like this lens a lot. When I got it, the first time I wound the camera, the shutter curtains disintegrated. Just into a pile of ripped dust.
Perhaps not a good sign.
And yeah, it's like, okay, well, I guess that's, this needs attention now. And so I took it in and had a repairman build new curtains for it. And, it was a bit of money, but you know what? This is a solid camera. It is heavy, it is stout, with new curtains, it works really, really well. I really like this camera, and we didn't get the counter to work right. Only found that out after I took delivery of it. It's like, oh yeah, I got to fix that. But it does go through an entire roll. It's just sometimes it gives up after 25, and I just finally hit the end of the roll. Like, oh, okay, time to rewind.
Around the mid '60s, there was a race between like Canon, Nikon, Pentax, and Minolta to develop a TTL metering system, through the lens metering. So you can set your exposure by looking through your lens. And apparently Minolta was technically the most sophisticated in that you put the lens on and it worked. Nikon was almost there, but not quite. And the other two, you actually had to stop down to your exposure in order to make it work. I'm finding this is a very well-made camera that I'm learning to like. Now I'm sort of going, okay, yeah, I think I want to shoot with this thing more. I was kind of pushing to do this camera because I haven't really used it that much, but I think it's a really good camera for somebody who's going, hey, I kind of want to learn analog photography. And for me, it's like, I kind of want to learn this camera.
let's do our walkabout. We'll load up with film. Lars has got something he was going to try out.
I recently picked up a roll of Harman Phoenix film. It's their first color film, and it's a work in progress. Everything I've heard about it is it's kind of contrasty, a little weird looking. You got to get your exposures right, otherwise it looks terrible. And I'm taking that as a challenge.
All right. Well, not to be outdone, first of all, because Lars just gloms onto film everywhere, I made him load up a roll of Ilford Delta 100 black and white film. And because we got these swell mugs and we're having a nice cup of Joe here, I'm going to develop this in caffenol, coffee. Now, don't drink the stuff that don't drink the stuff that we actually develop it in, because it's like a lot stronger than this, and it's got some kind of stuff in there that I probably wouldn't kill you right out, but it wouldn't be very pleasant. So, but we're going to try developing a roll of black and white and coffee, and we'll see whose pictures ends up looking worse.
Who knows if we'll get any pictures out of this one?
But we're going to have fun. So. Let's take one last drink for the road, and we'll let you know how that works. Yeah.
Almost get a spit take at you.
That's really like jammed on there. How did that happen?
You need a hammer? You can beat it with this thing.
This is how possibly. Wow. Wow. Take the picture. Oh, there we go. Wow. I have no idea how I did that. There we go. I feel like I ought to be farther than at 1.
Wait, what? For better or worse, I'm using this ghastly yellow filter on this.
This probably gonna look like nothing. Here goes nothing. Well, we're back. We've done our walkabout, and we have some pictures to look at. Lars?
Okay, so I shot this Harman Phoenix, and I didn't know what to expect, because, it's like, I've never shot it. I've seen some examples, but I don't know. And it's interesting. It's got a kind of muted color palette.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
it's like there are colors. It is definitely a color film, but I mean, this one, it's like it's almost earth tone. And the reds are not like that bright popping red. They're kind of this muted red.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Yeah, I remember that geranium being kind of almost magenta.
Yeah.
A lot of blue, and I'm not seeing the blue part.
It's definitely a film with a different color palette. So
like on the barbershop sign, barber is almost an orange red rather than a red. Now the blue looks fine.
Yeah, blue looks good.
Of course, we're also shooting at golden hour.
The blues are coming out reasonably intense. The yellows are not, granted those yellows in this shot of the sign are not...
in the shadow.
Yeah, they're in the shadows, but the yellows just aren't as, extreme as, I was thinking, so I figured put a yellow filter on it.
Oh, yeah, well,
that adds a bit of yellow.
That's, golly, it's bilious.
Yeah, it might be more yellow than anybody really needs. This was just an experiment because I've seen some processes where people use like heavy filtration on colors. So once you start bringing in other colors, then it starts to actually become something interesting. There's something almost I don't know, maybe it's like a faded look or something. Shot of the fire truck.
So there's the orange fire truck.
I just turned and grabbed the shot because the fire truck was going past. And
why not? Max Sennett would.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot with the Jeep.
Yeah, it's a Jeep.
Orange Jeep with an aloe vera, which is really a neat set of colors. Now that truly looks like, the old two-color Technicolor.
Yeah, it's not the kind of color you expect from a modern emulsion.
There we go. Oh,
this is nice. Just a very plain shot, but I like its plainness.
Yeah, of
this shed, or just industrial shed with cooling, fans on top or whatever. But this one I like. I like the way the roses kind of pop, and they're actually lit up by the sun, but they're in the shaded side of this house.
Now this is interesting because with this, of course, the sunlit part of the wall shows the halation on it. Right at the edge there, you can sort of see this orangey halation. To me, it's reminiscent of the old Technicolor films where on highlights that they couldn't control, you would tend to get that halation effect. Yeah. And back to the miasmic,
filter. This shot I like a lot. And I think what's working here is you've got this green lawn, some green leaves, these red things, and it kind of offsets the whole yellowness of the whole thing. And I think what I enjoy about it is it has this sort of almost 1950s faded look to it. It's almost like a print that is faded.
All right.
This one,
I like that
love
a lot.
the color on this
one.
one.
Yeah. It looks like, the South that's about ready to be eaten by the kudzu. Show goats are coming.
But the interesting thing about this, we've looked at all these things. What we haven't talked about is the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a point I want to make.
Oh, okay.
It's what I like about this camera is I didn't fight it. I didn't, it wasn't something I even really thought about. I just picked it up and I used it. And I think that's the great thing about it.
Kind of the anti-Alpa.
Yeah, it's a very easy camera to use, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, let's go to your shots.
So this was Ilford 100, developed in caffenol. I got the recipe off of the internet. It's basically not even very specific on amounts, like rounded teaspoons. Well, that's not exactly scientific, but it seemed to develop it all right. There's Friendly's barbershop black and white, and I gotta say I love the lens. This is the 28 millimeter. It's a nice sharp lens, like this, like with the looking down the alley with the light raking across the lumpy bricks. I just like the sharpness, and it just picks it all out.
This lens is surprisingly sharp to me. These have like a really nice tonal range. You said you were developing it in caffenol, and I was figuring, this could look pretty awful. But I am just kind of blown away with how good these look.
I think I got a little lucky on the exposure. Here we're looking up at the telephone pole or the power pole. I like that one too, actually. And oh,
Just looking up the alley.
up your alley. There we go. Let's see. Here's the shed, and yeah, that's kind of holding it.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep from burning out, and mostly it worked. This is a shot I like. This is one I finally thought, this isn't half bad, of the wires overhead where they kind of intersect in a way. And oh, there's the southern wider shot of that old place, you know, that looks like the kudzu's about to get it. And oh, you must have been taking this one.
Yeah,
there
I grabbed yours for like the last couple of shots.
There we go. And that's, I guess, the last of it. So, wow, I enjoyed the heck out of this Minolta, though. I mean, it's just easy to use, and I really like their lenses. I hear tell, and I don't know how true this is, that they were working with Leica for the development of the Leica SLR.
And they had the whole collaboration with the CL.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there is that sort of cross-pollination. Definitely a Minolta I misjudged in my youth. I thought, I don't really care about Minolta. I want a Nikon, or I want, something serious. No, it's a serious camera. It really is.
I've had some issues, and I think it's mostly my lens. I have this MD 50mm Rokkor, and I don't know whether it's just a bad copy, whether somebody dropped it at some point. It gets a little soft in the edges. In the center, it's really sharp and it looks really good. And certainly the camera body itself, I love. I think it's great. But looking at your photographs with that 28mm, those are sharp. They look really good. I think the MC Rokkors, the earlier ones, may be better built. It may be a better optical formula. Some of the image quality has been really good.
I think I got lucky with that lens.
You can get a pretty decent kit for under a couple of $100, maybe under $150.
Assuming it all works.
Yeah, assuming it works. I think that where it fits into me as a photographer is just a grab it and go, and where I don't really have a specific idea of what I'm trying to shoot. But I know it's going to perform reasonably well, but it's a good, solid camera.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Martin.
I'm Lars.
This has been Test Roll, and we'll see you next time.